Guys, what's going on? Legendary here playing more RuneScape Dragonwilds. Welcome to our Daily Gaming XP Grind episode 72. So, a couple days ago, they decided to change cooking a little bit, and we haven't really been working on it. So, actually, something we didn't even really notice that happened. But apparently, I went on and checked out the new updates, and apparently, they've made quite a bit of different changes. I think it's really, I haven't even looked into it too much. I just sort of read a little bit in the article, and since we haven't been working on it, we really didn't notice the change. But basically, instead of a 2-to-1 ratio for certain things, I think it's now just a 1-to-1, which is actually quite good. I think it should help get quite a bit more cooking XP while working on cooking. I'm not entirely sure, but I think that's definitely something that's headed in the right direction. I mean, obviously, it takes a considerable amount of time to collect these resources, so I don't really think a 2-to-1 ratio really quite makes sense. So we're rather happy about that, and we've been saving quite a bit of a stockpile of resources to work on cooking, and we haven't done them. So it actually kind of worked out in our advantage quite a bit, but we actually haven't gone and tested it yet. So we're going to go ahead and see what that's really going to look like once we actually attempt to do it. But right now, we're actually just collecting a little bit more cooking resources, and then we're probably going to get a little bit of cooking underway. The only real issue is, I don't know, I quite kind of like having a ridiculous amount of cooking resources just sort of sitting in my chest. But obviously, our goal is not to hoard resources for no reason at all. So we have to actually use them, which is not really that big of a deal. But there is something a little bit exciting about having a chest full of just an insane amount of resources. And as you can see here, we're sort of working on attack. And it's actually quite crazy how many rats there were to just kill just now. I think that's a little bit unusual. Usually this area does have quite a bit, but I feel like there was more so than usual this time. So that was actually pretty cool. And I do like how they're giving constant updates throughout the game, even though they're not extremely massive or anything like that. It's just like a constant filler or sort of like updates to the game that are going to make the game more interesting and sort of updating things and making them better. So let's go ahead and get a cooking potion. I don't actually know if we even have any. So we're probably going to have to make one, which really isn't that big of a deal. But as you can see here, we've been on the hunt trying to get more resources for cooking. And it's just ultimately adding up to getting a lot of other resources, animal bones, feathers, things like that. So let's go ahead and see if we actually, in fact, have any cooking potions. And I don't see any. So we're probably going to have to use a little bit of our cabbage to make some. I definitely don't want that many. That's a little bit crazy. Let's go ahead and make it something more basic, like 9. That sounds about good. So it's not anywhere near dark, but we can actually use this time to sort of put all of our cooking resources into the fires. And it looks like we've got more than one chest actually with cooking resources. So I'm not quite sure if we're going to be able to really capitalize on making sure that we can get like, obviously we've got more than we can put in there, so it's probably going to take more than one try. But I don't see the 2-to-1 ratio, so I'm not quite sure. Maybe if you use 2 resources in something that's going to require making like a mixed sort of dish. I'm not entirely sure what that's about. Like here, you can still see the 2-to-1. So I'm not sure. Either way, it's not really the end of the world. Obviously, we've been doing it one way this whole time, so not much of a difference, right? It's just going to be what we've been doing, but we've actually got quite a bit of resources, so I think we're going to be able to get quite a bit of XP in cooking. Something really cool that I saw was actually them talking about bringing back burnt food in case you accidentally burn something, which I'm not really certain that the game needed it. Obviously, they wanted to try to jump back to more of a RuneScape roots. Or was it like necessarily old school RuneScape roots? I don't necessarily think that that's going to change the game a whole lot by adding burnt food into the game. But for those of you who really wanted that update, then, you know, obviously that's cool. So I'm glad they did that for you guys. And also they talked a little bit about some of the new areas and the terrain that are going to be in the game and why it might be important that they actually decided some of the new foods that you can make are actually going to be helpful to you while exploring the new areas of the game, apparently based on the fact of like sort of survival things like that, whether it's heat, exhaustion, things like that. So they really want to sort to implement that a little bit more into the game of how food and stuff can actually help you. So I think that's really cool, and it's going to be exciting to see how they go about doing that. So I'm just sort of waiting for all this stuff to cook. I'd like to pick it all up at once. I actually thought about at one point adding more fireplaces because I feel like that it would potentially be beneficial to have a little bit more. Normally, I don't gather this much before actually working on it, so I don't really think it's necessary, but something to think about a little bit in the future. All this stuff here has to get organized and put inside my storage warehouse, which I'm not going to really worry about at this current moment. But we've got lots of things that we've sort of got to sort out and just sort of go through. But we've got so much food stockpiled, and hopefully in the future, these things will come in handy when the new Valhalla comes to the game. But ultimately, we're just waiting for nightfall to come, so that way we can sort of grab all this at once. It's going to be quite a bit here, so I guess while we wait, so we're not just sitting around wasting time, I'm not really quite sure what I want to work on. We've already shot down all the rune essence again, and behind the scenes, we also gathered a little bit more food behind the scenes. I don't really want to do an XP update until we actually get all this food cooked, but that seems like it's going to be a little bit. So I'm not quite sure what we can actually work on currently right now. Um, we've already got quite a bit of rune essence taken care of, so maybe let's see. I'm not sure. I guess I can sort of organize some of this stuff. These are all pretty much in the same area, so that wouldn't be too bad. Let's go take a look at our storage chest. Unfortunately, it's too much weight for our character, so we're going to be walking around a little bit slow. But you can see here in all these different chests, we've got just an insane amount of resources that we're acquiring, which I think is really cool. I'm not sure how much of these I'm going to need so much when Valhalla comes to the game, but it's better to have them and then, have them when you need them, or then rather than not have them and need them. I don't know why that was so tough to say. It's probably because I don't say that often. So let's go just organize a little bit more. Nightfall is actually really far away. So I think what I'm going to do is just wait for those to finish. And then what we can do is actually just put the next load in. And I don't really want to make it like we need to wait for another episode to see all the XP we're going to get. I think that would be a little bit ridiculous. I'm just sort of going through the progression of all the different chests that we've got here and trying to put things away. So we're trying to find the coarse animal fur. There we go. And we've got a little bit of hard leather, which I don't actually think I actually have a spot for hard leather. We'll just put it here for now, just to get it away. We haven't really been working on our mannequins because I just sort of have been focusing on a lot of other different things in the game. I don't really even want to move anymore right now. So what we're going to do is go ahead and collect what's on the ground already and see how much XP we're going to get. So it's quite a bit. We've got 3,048, and obviously more things are cooking at this very moment. So we got 3,132, 3,156. So obviously that's going to keep going. We'll go ahead and put this stuff away, what we've got right now. And from there, what we can do is basically just wait. That's all we can really do. So it looks like we sort of got the rest of our food here. And I can try to find ones that aren't really being used anymore. It looks like that one's still being used. Put this chicken in here and start it. Maybe that's what we'll do, so that way we don't take up too much more time being wasted. Let's take a cooking potion, because obviously we want to make sure we're not going to lose any extra cooking XP, as cooking is horrible. So let's go over here and add a little bit more dwellberries. But you can see we've invested quite a bit of time into just trying to set ourselves up for success and making sure that we're maximizing our time in the game to get the most XP. So I don't know, is this one not started? Why wouldn't it take all of it? Okay, so let's jump to this one. Looks like we don't got enough steak. We could do some onions. We go in this one, a little bit more steak. Go to this one, and it looks like, there we go. So we've got all those. Let's see, I don't know why I'm hitting the wrong keys. Okay, so let's see. We're going to make this, which was a complete accident. Once it's done, we'll restart it and go the other way. But basically, let's see. Pop this out, and hopefully one of these is going to be ready to keep adding ingredients. That one's ready. Let's see. We can add that in there. And we've got some potatoes to cook. So it looks like nightfall's on its way, and once it's actually here, then we can sort of speed all this up, have to pop another cooking potion, and then finish whatever we got left. I'm just trying to find something that's we've still got quite a bit of, so we don't really waste uh, the fires. We can also just make more fires at another point, which we haven't really done, but it's definitely something we're going to need to do in the future. As obviously, if we're going to be gathering ridiculous amounts of resources, especially when Valhalla comes to the game, we're going to need more fire pits, because I believe that throughout killing all the different creatures that we're going to be killing, it's going to be basically a requirement. So it's not quite nightfall, but I need to get these potatoes put into a fire, but I don't really see one that's going to be ready. So much XP on the ground right now. Just sort of waiting for one of these fires to basically be available, so that way we can get started. But it doesn't look like it's going to happen in time, so let's just go ahead and lay down. It's probably going to actually, I think it's a little bit too soon to do that. We've still got our cooking potion active. Let's just go ahead and grab all this XP and see how much we got. So we already got 3,000 earlier, about 3,300 I think it was. And then now we're going to grab all this, and it's going to be 1,900, so about 5,000. So it's decent. It's just really not that much. Ultimately, we're going to need more. But I don't think that's ever going to change. I mean, obviously, we are sort of going to a goal. And once that goal's been reached, I don't really think we're going to have to worry anymore about it. But currently, yes, we do need more cooking XP. And it's just going to take time. Hopefully, nightfall comes soon. There we go. We're going to go ahead and pop a cooking potion right away. We don't want to forget, as then we're going to be wasting a lot of XP. And if you see to the right there, all the food just sort of got loaded out. So let's go ahead and see how much more XP we got. So it's quite a bit, really. It's actually crazy. So another 3,000. So let's go ahead and do an XP update, and then we're going to send you guys on your way, and we'll be back tomorrow with more RuneScape Dragonwilds. So 304,000 attack XP, woodcutting sitting at 1,001,000, construction 2,009,000, runecrafting 579,000, magic 93,000. We worked on that quite a bit, or just a little bit behind the scenes. Mining 4,082,000, artisan 4,094,000, and cooking 247,988 XP. So we're definitely progressing in cooking. It's just taking time, which is something we already knew was going to happen. It's not the end of the world. I think ultimately it's just patient, be persistent, and we'll reach the goal that we want to. I feel like I put something that was raw on here by accident. I don't really see it, so I think we're okay. But ultimately, that's pretty much going to do it for this episode. But we've definitely making progress. Just to sort of do a recap, though, here really quick. We want to get rune crafting potentially and hopefully to 1 million before Valhalla. Construction we're pretty much done with, except when new things come to the game. Obviously, we're going to build them. Woodcutting, I'm pretty comfortable with 1 million woodcutting until we find out what level 99 is. Then we can make a decision on whether or not we want to go further. Obviously, I'll cut new trees when they come to the game, though. Attack, 304,000. I'm not sure. I mean, obviously, that's not enough for me. I don't know what the goal is going to be. Magic needs to be at least 150 to 200,000 before Valhalla, so hopefully we can accomplish that. Mining, definitely comfortable. Obviously, I'll interact and do different things that come to the game, but for the most part, mining is pretty much done. Unless that's not 99, but I'm pretty sure it is. Artisan, pretty much done. Same story. And cooking, I'd like to see that at least maybe 350 to 400,000 before Valhalla comes to the game. But anyway, guys, we really hope you guys are enjoying our content. And until next time, Legion Nuda out.